What's up, humans and freaks? So, church cover-up culture. This is made famous by the Catholic Church organization. We all know, how they cover up priests who are pedophiles and, molest little boys, altar boys, all that stuff. Like, we all know that in the general just world and public. We know that. But church cover-up culture, or cover-up culture in churches, is a very common thing. It's in Protestant churches as well, evangelical churches. It's in all churches. It's in all religious organizations. So, I go around here in the Bellingham area, Whatcom County area on a regular basis. I know quite a few people, pretty familiar with some church organizations here in Whatcom County, Bellingham area, and it's the same thing. I mean, I know of active, ongoing cover-up scenarios right now in some churches in Bellingham. I know pastors, they're not real pastors, but they have the title of pastor. They're covering up cases where people have legitimately been harassed of a sexual nature, all sorts of things, money, you name it. So what churches do, and when I say churches, I mean 501c3 corporations. I don't mean real biblical churches. I mean these 501c3 corporations. You have to look at them, I keep telling you guys, you have to look at them as businesses. Once you look at them as businesses instead of churches, then you will understand why they operate the way they operate, because they're a business. So if you go into a business that has a CEO, as the head, and it's a corporation, and if you do something in that business that is going to make the business look bad, well, guess what? They're going to try to cover it up. They're going to try to get rid of you. They're going to try to smear you or make you look bad or discredit you. And churches do the same thing because they run like businesses and they're 501c3 corporations. So once you understand that mindset and you go into these organizations and look at them from a business standpoint, then you will understand why they cover things up. So someone recently told me, well, Brandon, these people are pastors. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. Hold on a second. No, they're not. And he's like, well, yeah, they are. They have the title of pastor. They have a church. I'm like, no, you don't understand. The IRS calls them pastors. That's what the IRS calls them, because they registered their church as a 501c3 corporation with the government. So unbelieving, God-hating, non-Christian people, they call them pastors because they have a piece of paper that says, see, they signed here, 501c3 corporation, registered with the IRS. They're a pastor and they're a church. Yeah, but God doesn't call them pastors, you guys. Do you understand the difference here? The IRS calls them pastors. God does not call them pastors because they're not biblically qualified to be pastors. Okay? Now, some out there are, yes, but the ones I'm talking about and the ones I know and the actual real stories and that I was an eyewitness to, and many other eyewitnesses to, we all know these guys are not pastors. Now, they may be Christian, okay, but they're in the wrong role. They're not in the right role, okay? So, anyway, back to the point. Cover-up culture in churches happens all the time. And once you get out there and you look beyond the surface, okay, so when you go into any church scenario, don't just take everything at face value. And that's what most of you Christians do, unfortunately. You walk in the door and then you check your brain at the door. Like, you walk in there and you just say, this is a church, these are pastors, it's like, no. Satan disguises himself as what? An angel of light. And his ministers, see, Satan has ministers too. Satan has pastors too. That's what you don't understand. You need to understand this. Satan's ministers disguise themselves as well as angels of light. So, we're not going to play these games where these fake pastors are covering things up and they don't want to know the truth, okay? So, if it makes them look bad, if it makes their friends look bad, if it makes their brand look bad, if it makes their company look bad, their corporation look bad, guess what? They're going to try to cover it up. And they're going to want to get rid of anybody who exposes who they are and what they're really doing. So, we may be coming out with a little documentary here. We'll see what happens, but I definitely have enough proof and evidence and material to make a documentary about some of these fake pastors here in Bellingham. I have enough credible, verifiable, provable information to expose one particular punk. There's one particular specific little punk pastor in Bellingham that I definitely could expose on many levels. And he just might get that coming his way pretty soon. Unless he does the right things that he knows he should do. But he doesn't want to do them because all he cares about is his money and his brand and his little corporation that he calls a church. Now, there are some real Christians there, and that's the beautiful thing about God, you guys, is God has his church spread out and sprinkled all over these organizations in the world, because God's church is just us. It's people. It's not an organization. It's not a denomination. It's not a corporation. It's not a brand. It's people. And God has his people watching so-called leaders, so-called pastors. God's eyes and God's servants' eyes are on you. And we see you. And you will not go unnoticed. I notice everything. I've been in churches for 22 years as an adult. See, I haven't been in churches 22 years counting me as like a little toddler who had no idea what was going on, or even a 10-year-old or a teenager who still didn't quite understand what was going on. No. I've been in a lot of church organizations for 22 years since the age of 21. And I've seen a lot. I know a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've been around quite a bit. All around Southern California and now up here in Washington. I've got to experience a lot of church organizations, and I can pick up on things very, very, very fast. Very, very fast. So, if you think you're going to fool me, I don't think so. Maybe in the very, very beginning, you'll be able to fool me like a little bit, but that's just me getting to know you for the first time and, being around you a couple times. But trust me, if I'm around you long enough, I will figure you out. And I tell people all the time, my ministry is public. It's in the streets. Nothing to hide. There's government cameras recording everything. We have our cell phones recording everything. And then we have professional cameras recording everything. I'm public. My social media is wide open. It's public, not private. I got nothing to hide. You, however, have a lot to hide. This one particular little punk pastor in Bellingham. It's coming your way, buddy. Get ready.